Be saved. If America wants to be saved, if you want to be number one in the world, it's one bold progressive agenda that is the only possible way that America can stay number one in terms of being a global superpower. What we're talking about is you're reversing everything throughout the past 40, 50 years of right-wing libertarian Reaganomic globalist economic agenda of billionaires. Wages stagnated to the service industry. America doesn't make its own goods anymore. China and India and other parts of the world have been is where all the big corporations have moved their manufacturing to. Green energy jobs are going at a faster rate than the ways of yesterday. Coal and oil and non-renewable energy no longer creates the most jobs. If America is to be number one, if we have a real progressive voice in our government created by the people, for we the people to form a just union to promote the general welfare, to preserve life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not just the liberty part, but the general welfare. Are Americans having a solid standard of living? Is the government voicing the concerns of the people? And that's not what has been happening throughout the past 40, 50 years of this billionaire globalist corporate New World Order agenda. We need to bring back the jobs that we ship away to China. We need to bring them back to America. Let China burn its own coal and its renewables, and let China pollute its own atmosphere to the abyss. Let's take those jobs back. Let's take it away from the People's Republic of China. Let's then move those jobs to America. Let's create green energy jobs and not just create green energy manufacturing jobs. We don't want jobs like Republicans say. We want high-paying manufacturing jobs. We need the minimum standard of living green energy jobs that pay a living wage, that have health care, that are able to provide a solid living, be able to purchase a car, to buy a home, to be able to have multiple vacations. This is the kind of thing that America needs if it wants to stay number one. And if Joe Biden is that bold enough, if he really wants to walk the walk instead of talk the talk, or display, he has to unleash his own version of FDR. He needs to be very bold with this infrastructure plan to give tax, and I think it doesn't go enough. Tax incentives for green energy is not going to be enough. You got to actually create green energy jobs for this Green New Deal vision to put America first, and not the globalists, and not the corporations, and not the billionaires. To put the people first, to put our living environment first, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink. This adversely affects us if we do not solely invest in clean energy. That is the tomorrow. Only thing to fear is fear itself, according to FDR. Just fear change for the sake of change without wanting to change is not enough. You gotta have a good reason to be against the Green New Deal. That is what we need. We've got to bring jobs back from these areas without any child labor laws, really without any oversight over the regulation of labor. That's what makes planet Earth a third world. Is that you have these manufacturing sectors that have no government oversight over labor and over the exploitation of child labor. See, we're not for the rule of law. We're not for a high standard of living and prosperity for even the citizens of the world. Yeah, and America is a corporation. It likes to exploit the labor of these people in these countries, exploit their exploit their poverty in the name of, oh, you have food, you have a roof over your head, but you're still starving. These people, despite the breadcrumbs that they get, they're living better with these corporations, but these corporations want to justify how this is all okay. These kids belong in a school and they don't belong in a factory. If there is any real justice in the world, but there isn't, this is what we need. We need up-to-date global infrastructure. We need the high-speed trains. You travel to London, you travel to other parts of the world, they have high-speed subway systems. Very quick, navigates commerce, economic activity really quickly, without polluting the environment too. We're all driving cars, we're all polluting the earth when we own a car, but in many parts of the world, they don't even own a car. Like if you live in the city of London, if you live in the city of Paris, you're walking around, you're burning energy, you're using the subway. This is the kind of thing that America needs, is to interconnect cities too. That would greatly increase GDP. If we manufacture jobs in America that paid living wage, bring the Green New Deal jobs, bring the green energy jobs, create those jobs and take them away from the factories in China. Go out and actually try to be better than China versus spreading anti-China, anti-CCP hate rhetoric. Like, what do Republicans have? China, CCP, China. Do they have anything even remotely constructive that would really put America number one over China? Why didn't Trump do this? Huh? They were saying America great again. None of that happened. Negative today. That's how much of a loser Trump is. That's how much of a fraud Trump is. This is why Trump lost. This is why he lost election. It's because nothing changed under Trump. We need progressives to be bold in Congress and demand that we create high-paying renewable energy jobs in this country. Our infrastructure is competing with the likes of Europe and Asia and Korea and Japan, where America lags far behind even in outdated infrastructure. Last time we passed an infrastructure bill was 2015 under Obama. It was last addressed under Obama, and even the figure of his bill was $400 billion, $500 billion. Nothing got done under Trump. And Nancy and Chuck went to Trump to talk about infrastructure. All Trump did was wail and cry, blah, blah, back to his diaper. That's how much of a clown the previous president of the United States was. As a matter of fact, he gave a big tax break to the billionaires, tried to gut healthcare for millions of people. This is right-wing fascism in a nutshell. This is the billionaire globalist agenda in a nutshell. This is the Republican Party death cult in a nutshell. Let's politicize wearing masks. Let's listen to these loser politicians instead of listening to scientists and our medical professionals. But these people want to listen to these loser scum politicians over their own scientists and medical personnel. That is how screwed up the right wing is. Trump, he bottled it. He bangled the whole thing. He bangled infrastructure. This is the Green New Deal vision that we need to make America number one. But is it going to happen? We need it to happen. I think Republicans will obstruct the Green New Deal and they will try to usher in their libertarian billionaire satanic mark of the beast, cut every government program that has benefited the working people. A new line of right-wing propaganda. Biden's raising your taxes. Biden's going to be a communist. Wonder what right-wing scare tactic is going to help take the Senate back or the House. So one of the two is going to get flipped, the House or the Senate. Billionaire propaganda will work on these mindless zombie masses. How do you explain that after killing 400,000, 500,000 people, downplaying COVID, discussing a trade deal with China that had happened, on record talking to Bob Woodward that this coronavirus is very serious, and he's saying the opposite to Americans? He's saying inject yourself with hydrochloroquine. 47% of the country voted for that. We're a third world ignoramus, shit-ass fucking country. Because the majority of the people preside in prideful ignorance. You can't have an intellectual conversation with people about, hey, let's be number one over China. Let's create the Green New Deal. Let's make our own goods. Let's have control over renewable resources. Let's bring wealth to the United States of America. Pretty much MAGA in a progressive, clean energy style. That's what it is. That's what we need. But that's not what the billionaires want. Billionaires want the opposite. Billionaires want to make America a libertarian third world shithole country. They're doing everything they can to make it happen. I'm sure that they can make it happen. As much as I hate to happen, I think if Ivanka is in the White House, that'd be the Libertarian Paradise. I think that'd be a Libertarian Paradise. I think it's totally going to happen if in fact the John Birch Society founded at Indianapolis, if Indianapolis is hosting the GOP convention. I wonder when they find out when they're hosting a convention. Whatever Libertarian Paradise, wherever the Libertarian Party is at, they were founded in Alexandria, West Virginia, I think it is. But in summation, Joe Biden has a portrait of FDR over his Oval Office. Is he really going to do it? FDR would want a wealth tax. Biden's administration is refusing to adopt Warren's wealth tax. Warren would tax the billionaires. But that's not what Joe and his whole want. Warren would make a tremendous president if there any justice in this country. If Warren and Bernie, real progressives, no cabinet jobs under Biden, just completely shut out. Bernie and Warren, the minimum wage, the wealth tax. Anyone want to tell me that these two parties are virtually the same part of the two sides of the same coin? It's just not true. The corporate wing has got a lot in common with the Republican Party, but there are some progressives in the Democratic coin that are just powerless against the likes of Schumer and Pelosi and company. But if the likes of AOC and company don't have a voice, then you don't have a Green New Deal. You're going to see stagnation. So instead of the Green New Deal, all we get is libertarian compromise with the devil that, hey, you're going to legalize weed federally and we're going to let them go and criminal justice. Yay. But that's all good. Don't get me wrong. But number one thing we need is clean energy. Put us at a competitive advantage with China. Move those offshoring shitty ass fucking jobs in China, whatnot, and make them high paying jobs in America. This is the way to go. If there are any real progressives left in our government, progressives with power, and they make it happen. But I tell you, the midterms is very pivotal. If Democratic Party don't win the midterms, if they don't control all three chambers of government, which is how it's rigged, is that Democrats will be in there to clean the mess of Bush and clean us the mess of Trump and Republicans and the COVID anti-science hoax pushers, then they're going to give us stagnation throughout the latter half. That is what I am going to predict, but this is precisely the vision that we need, and it needs to be implemented right away. Republican Party has no intention of doing that. Democrats will say that they are going to do that, but we need to cut with these hocus pocus cat and mouse games, and you need to actually walk the walk and be able to do it. And so, come on, we need an FDR. When will this right wing 50 years of billionaires and Reaganomics, when will it all end? What Biden's going to do, is he going to bring the corporate tax rate back to 35%, or is it going to be some BS where it's 30%, that the corporate tax rate was so lower than it was after Donald Trump got in office, right? This is the kind of thing that you have to look out for. They're going to raise corporate tax rate, but it was 35% before. They're going to keep it 30%. This is the kind of thing that I'm going to be telling you about, that, hey, the billionaires have still saved money than they were making in 2015, 2016. I tell you, this is the only vision that you need. A maggot, Donald Trump maggot supporter would support this. But they're in a cult, and this is practically what Donald Trump has said. That's what Bernie said in his campaign. But no rigged establishment wants Bernie, wants progressives, so we're stuck until we do something about it. Something real about it.